Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it is a really warm and toasty day here in early July in Southwest Florida. And what I have today, I want to share with you a couple of orchids, but there's also some stories associated with that, with each one. And I want to share those with you as well. And I want to do a little, I guess, not an experiment, but more of an assay. I'm looking because there's a palm frond about to fall down in the tree that's right next to the camera. Anyway, if I jump up, it's because the frond is falling on my orchids. Anyway, I want to start out with this orchid right here, and then we're going to move to this orchid right here. This one actually lives in the pergola. I showed you a little bit of this in not the last video, but 2 videos ago. And this is RLC Waianae Appeal, and the cultivar is Carmela. So this is an orchid that I got a couple of years ago from Carmela Orchids, and this is the first bloom on this plant. And when I first showed this to you, it was a long video. It was right at the end. This is growing in the top of my pergola, and there was only one flower that was open, and that was the flower that was right here. And this is a really nice flower on this plant. One of the parents of this is Toshiaoki. So, and it looks really similar to Toshiaoki, but maybe not quite the same level of flaring in that. So it's a beautiful flower. So it is yellow with a really deep red or purple, maroon, plum colored lip. It's really nice, contrasting. Also has the flaring, a little bit of flaring in the petals, and that's also that same dark red coloration. It's again, first bloom, nice plant, pretty tall. The plant itself is pretty vigorous. It's a small plant, but it's tall considering how, the size of the plant, and it's starting to get some fragrance. Right now, on the first spike on this plant, there are 5 flower buds, 4 of which are open. Again, the first flower looks great. 2 of the other flowers also are looking pretty good. One is an open. The flower that that drew my attention, and that means not good attention, is this one over here. And this one, in this flower, there is a little bit of color break. And when you see or when you hear the word color break, most orchid growers go, uh-oh, virus. So we're going to do a virus test on this plant, and we're going to do it really, really quickly, and I'm going to share those results with you. The plant itself and the leaves of the plant and the other parts of the plants, asymptomatic, so there's nothing there, and it's only this one flower that there's color break, but I actually don't think that there's any kind of virus issue in this one flower. But we're actually going to sample the flower itself. The plant itself is growing really nicely. In addition to these really nice flowers on this plant, like I said, a nice yellow coloration with deep purple or dark red maroon lip, and a little bit of flaring also. So it's a nice plant, but in addition to that, there's even though it is flowering now, there's a couple of new pseudobulbs growing out of the base of this plant. It's in a really small, looks like about a 4.5 inch pot, and I was worried about it that it might fall over. It's a little bit side heavy just because it's such a small pot. And like I said, this is hanging in my pergola, so it's not going to fall over like that. But it's going to have to, right after this is done flowering, it needs to be put into a bigger pot. And a lot of my orchids need to be put in bigger pots. I have plenty of big pots. What I don't have is space for those big pots to go in my collection. But this will go back where it came from. And again, what I'm going to do is wait until the flowers here have faded, and about that point the pseudobulbs will be large enough, there will be roots starting to form, and it'll be the perfect time to repot this plant. But, you know, a nice plant, again, no symptoms. Everything looks good on it, but just because this one flower has a little bit of suspect color in the lip, I'm going to sample it and we're going to do a virus test. The virus test that I'm going to be using is from Agdia, so there's only really a couple of suppliers of the virus test kit. This is one is in the United States. These test kits are relatively expensive, so you can buy, I think, a 25 pack or a 5 pack. They are, like I said, they're a little bit expensive. This ends up being about a little over $7 per test, which is a lot. But if there's a problem with viruses, we need to detect it and then take the appropriate action. And the appropriate action is, unfortunately, you cannot cure a plant of the virus. You toss it. You just got to get rid of it. And I don't think it's there, but I'm going to do a test anyway because, again, people get freaked out with the color break or what you see in there. Now, the other thing is I have had another yellow Cattleya that showed similar type of coloration in the petals and in the lip. And I actually did, because I suspected something that was from somebody else's collection. This I bought as a seedling, and I don't expect problems, but I tested that other one and it was virus negative. So hopefully I'm expecting those results, but I'm going to show you whatever we get. So we'll just kind of go from there. All right, so anyway, Agdia is the supplier of these virus test kits. There is one other supplier and that sells a little bit more economical test kits, and they are I think they're in Taiwan, and you can order those test kits. It takes a long time to arrive, and these are, again, if you're in the US, these are shipped in the US, and these you'll get relatively quickly. The test kits themselves are very easy to run. There is just a plastic grid inside of this packet that contains the extraction buffer. You put your sample in the extraction buffer. You take a pen or something and you grind up your sample in there. And again, we're just going to take the flower part, and then you take the test strip and dip it in the extracted sample. And if it's positive, you have bands that form, and it's in an immunoassay. You have bands to form in about 30 minutes. And it's not difficult to do. If you've done a home COVID test, it's almost the same thing. The instructions are pretty straightforward. There's a video on how to do this, and these are easy to do. And if you have some problems, you need to be aware of it and take care of it. At least I do. I don't want it spreading. If there is an issue, I don't want it spreading to the other plants in my collection. Regardless, what I always do, again, to counter the viruses and other pathogens that are out there, is I always flame my instruments. And I usually flame a long time, but I've already flamed this before, so I don't really need to flame it that much. Okay, so for this test, what I'm going to do is cut off the top of this. These are sealed containers here, so I'm going to cut the top of this off so that it is open, and then I'm going to take my instrument and pull off some of the suspect tissue, and we're actually going to take, and the flower is kind of not looking real good anyway, so I don't mind taking this, kind of ruining this flower to do the appropriate assay. So this is about the size of what this is. The amount of size that you should take, if this was a piece of leaf tissue, I would take something, this is the size of the whole of the flower tissue, but because leaf tissue is so much thicker, you take a smaller sample. It's you have to take a look at the amount of the grams, the mass of tissue that you're using. This then is I get this to the bottom of here. It doesn't want to go down because I doubled it over to get it in this packet. But you move this to the bottom of the sample, the bottom of the extraction pack, and it's at the bottom here, and then you have to do an extraction. There is, again, some material, abrasive material in here, so it lets you very simply, it lets you do the extraction pretty efficiently. So what you do, and this is, wow, I've never done flower tissue before. I've always done leaf tissue. Flower tissue extracts, it's soft, it extracts really easily. The leaf tissue, you have to grind up and it takes a long time. This is so rapid to extract, it's incredible just because it's so soft. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is extract like this, and you can see, I think you can tell, there's pretty much nothing left in here, but I'm gonna do a really thorough extraction and grind it up a little bit more and stop talking, and we'll just fast forward through that as we move. Okay, so I've done a pretty thorough extraction of this. You're supposed to let this sit and kind of equilibrate for a few minutes, but because I was kind of grinding it up so long, and because the extraction is so thorough, I don't think I need to let it sit for too long. So the next step is to place this strip in here. And what I'll do, I've done this video, I've showed you how to do virus tests before, so I don't think I need to show you initially how this looks, but I'll show you what it looks like at the end. So the bottom of the test strip is then wicking up the extracted solution here. And what's going to happen, what has to happen is it has to take about 30 minutes to have the complete reaction. So we'll let this sit. Siri, set my timer for 30 minutes. And we'll have 30 minutes that we'll come back and take a look at it. In the meantime, I want to show you the second orchid for today. All right, and that is, that's right here. And this is, I'll show it to you in a second. This is Big Dipper. The story behind Big Dipper is that this, you know, I look at my orchids. I got an encycli in my ear here. Sorry about that. But I look at my orchids every day, sometimes multiple times a day. I know what's going on. At least I think I know what's going on in all of the orchids in my collection. But what happens is, and I was sitting here the other day. This table and these chairs are here. This patio set is here. And I actually like spending time with my orchids. So I just come out here and sit and enjoy myself. And I was sitting here the other day, noticing all the capsules on this Tampensis here, looking at some of my new purchases in this basket right here. And then I looked at this orchid right here. And now we'll pull it out and take a look at it. And this is where this orchid lives, right here. So this was a purchase that I made a few years ago from a orchid growing friend. And it's stayed in the same pot. It's grown a little bit. It grows a little bit every year. It's packed in 100%, he'd like to do this, 100% lava stone. And I knew it was growing well. But then I looked, as I was sitting here, I looked down at it and I saw a flower spike, a new flower spike coming out of this with 3 buds on it, and which I didn't see before. And again, I look at my plants a lot. I like to think that I know what's going on in my collection, but I didn't see this. And so I was kind of surprised. And then once I noticed this thing is blooming, I then started looking around at some of the other new pseudobulbs that are growing out of this plant. And so I saw this down here, And here is another pseudobulb that I'm looking down in here, and it looks like there are 3 to 4 flowers, buds in that one. And then it's like, oh my gosh, okay. And then I looked at, here's another new pseudobulb right here. And this again has buds in sheath. And it looks like, again, some more flowers here. And then finally, one at the tallest one, the one at the top here. Again, more buds in sheath. So, oh, and is there one here? Maybe there's another. I can't even tell. There might be. No, that's not one. But I think this is one too. So I think what I have is on this thing that I didn't see anything. You know, the flower's not open. It's going to be a while. I would have noticed it eventually. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new pseudobulbs that have grown out of this plant that are going to be flowering probably within a month. So I'm pretty excited about this. These flowers are small, they're flared, but it's a nice plant and it's growing apparently pretty nicely. It likes the heat, it likes the rain that we've been getting here every day. So Big Dipper, that is, I think maybe one of the parents is Little Dipper on this, I'm not sure. But Big Dipper is going to have a lot of flowers on it, and I'll bring those to you as we get further along. So again, I wanted to share this with you. I didn't see this, noticed it, and I'm excited. It's going to be loaded. And again, this is where this guy lives. This was right next, like I said, it's right next to where I sit, and I didn't see it. I don't think it's there. I think it's right there. Okay. All right. Anyway, so what I have, this thing is supposed to take 30 minutes to test, but it didn't take that long, and it didn't take long. But it is clearly negative. So this has a positive control built in. So when a band comes up, when one band comes up, it's the control band that comes up. As if you have viruses that are infecting your plant, you'll get 1 or 2 more bands that'll come up on the test strip. And again, similar to a COVID test. And what I'm seeing clearly is just a single band. So the 2 other viruses that this test kit can detect are not in this plant. I wasn't expecting it to be, but again, the color break, because of what you see there, people are going to be suspect. And I was a little concerned, but I think I'm good. All right. And then the other thing is, since I pretty much ruined this flower, it's time to harvest the pollinia from that. I gotta, because it's virus-free, it's good. I'm a little concerned, to be honest, that there may be some instability in pigment formation in the flower for some reason. I don't know why, but it's such a beautiful flower. I think I'm gonna use it in my crosses. And I've already, like I said, I already damaged the flower. So might as well harvest the pollinia out of it and use it in some crosses. Okay, so yay. Negative on this thing. Flowers coming out here, lots of stuff going on. It's an exciting time to be an orchid grower here in Southwest Florida. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, once again, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and happy propagating.